The treaty had held for 6 years. Signed in blood, in silence, in the wreckage of the last war. 2 words carved it into law across every species that remembered the cost. Never again. The Voss Ascendancy had signed it too, not out of respect, out of necessity. Their last war with humanity had cost them 400 warships and 2 border colonies. They had never forgotten. They had never forgiven. 6 years is a long time to plan a betrayal. On the edge of the demilitarized zone, a single Voss listening post picked up something strange. A human research station, unarmed by treaty, had gone dark. No distress signal, no wreckage, no explanation. High command in the Voss capital saw an opportunity, not a mystery. The humans have grown soft, Fleet Marshal Draxus Korrin said. 6 years of peace has dulled them. He was wrong. He would not live long enough to understand how wrong. Korrin had waited 6 years for this moment. He had built his fleet in the shadows of the treaty, disguised as border patrols and trade escorts. 2,000 warships, hidden in plain sight, one violation at a time. The humans trust paper, he told his officers. We will teach them what paper is worth. The plan was simple. Strike the demilitarized zone at its weakest point. Take the research station. Take the colony beyond it. Present humanity with a fact they could not undo. They will protest, Korrin said. They will not fight. Their leaders fear war more than they fear losing ground. His fleet crossed the treaty line at 400 hours station time. No warning shots, no declaration, just violation dressed as inevitability. The colony of New Meridian saw them coming an hour before impact. Population, 40,000. Defense, a single planetary shield, treaty limited, decades old. Evacuate the shield generator, the colony's defense chief ordered. We can't hold 2,000 warships. She was already being overruled. Because the shield did not need to hold. It only needed to look like the only thing standing between the Voss fleet and slaughter. The Voss fleet opened fire on the shield exactly as planned. The shield held. Not weakened, not cracked, not even close to failing. Recheck your data, Korrin snapped. That shield is rated for treaty-era output only. His weapons officer rechecked twice. Confirmed, Marshal. Full barrage. The shield has not lost a single percentage point of integrity. Then the shield generator did something no treaty-era technology should do. It fired back. A single beam, precise and narrow, lanced through the heart of a Voss cruiser and left the ships beside it untouched. Surgical, deliberate, impossible for equipment humanity had declared obsolete. That is not the same shield technology we surveyed 6 years ago, an officer said, voice tight. Korrin's jaw clenched. Then what is it? Before anyone could answer, 12 more colonies across the demilitarized zone reported the exact same thing. Shields holding, beams answering, coordination too perfect to be improvised. They knew we were coming, Korrin realized, before we crossed the line. A comm channel opened, uninvited, patched directly into his bridge. A woman's voice, calm and level, filled the silence. You didn't break our shield, she said. You broke the ceasefire. Those are very different mistakes. What Fleet Marshal Korrin did not know, what no Voss officer had ever suspected, was that humanity had never trusted the treaty either. They had simply understood something the Voss never did. A ceasefire only protects the side that intends to keep it. For 6 years, while the Voss disguised warships as border patrols, humanity had done something quieter. They rebuilt every treaty-limited colony shield from the inside out, using alloys and power cores that violated no visible specification. Because the violations were buried in materials science, the Voss had never bothered to inspect. Every shield generator on every border colony was, on paper, treaty legal. In practice, each one was a warship's main battery, welded to a planet instead of a hull. Humanity had learned from the last war that treaties end wars on paper. Only strength ends them in truth. So while diplomats shook hands and signed documents, human engineers spent 6 years turning 41 border colonies into a wall no fleet could break without paying a price it could not survive. And the research station that went dark, the one that started this whole invasion, it had not been destroyed. It had been relocated 3 months earlier, quietly, its entire staff and equipment folded into a deep space monitoring post built specifically to watch the Voss border for exactly this moment. Because human intelligence had intercepted fragments of Voss fleet movement patterns for over a year, not through spies, through patience. Every routine, Voss patrol near the demilitarized zone had been logged, mapped, and cross-referenced until the pattern of a coming invasion became impossible to miss. Humanity had not been caught by surprise. They had been waiting for the excuse. Phase 1 complete, the woman's voice said over Korrin's bridge comm. You just gave us one. The 41 colony shields along the demilitarized zone opened fire in sequence, not chaos. Each beam struck a different Voss ship. No overlap, no wasted shots. 2,000 warships, built for a war against an enemy that no longer existed the way Korrin remembered. Fall back to the border, Korrin ordered. Regroup at the rally point. The rally point was not empty. 900 human warships waited there, already in formation, running dark until the exact moment retreat became the only option left. Not a defense fleet, a trap 6 years in the making. They knew our fallback coordinates, his navigator said, disbelief cracking his voice. Those coordinates are classified. Only Fleet Command has access. Then Fleet Command has a problem, the woman's voice answered, still patched into every Voss channel across the sector. We've had those coordinates for 4 years. The human fleet did not chase. It did not need to. It simply closed the only paths home, one by one, like a door being shut with total calm. A Voss dreadnought, the pride of Korrin's personal command, tried to punch through the human line at its center. A single human cruiser intercepted it, disabled its weapons array in one pass, and moved on without slowing. No wasted force, no unnecessary cruelty, just control. This is not retaliation, Korrin said quietly, watching his fleet collapse around him. This is correction. Phase 2 complete, the voice said. Fleet Marshal Draxus Korrin stood on the bridge of his flagship, surrounded by wreckage that had once been the pride of the Voss Ascendancy, and finally understood the shape of the trap he had walked into. Every border colony he had scouted as treaty-compliant and unarmed had been a fortress waiting for a reason to reveal itself. Every quiet year of peace had been a year humanity spent preparing for exactly this violation, because they had never believed the Voss intended to honor the treaty in the first place. Humanity had not wanted war. They had simply refused to be unprepared for one. You let us believe you were weak, Korrin said, the realization settling like cold water. For 6 years. We let you believe what you wanted to see, the woman's voice answered. Weakness was never the truth. It was the price of avoiding this exact battle. Around him, officers who had planned this invasion for years stood frozen at their stations, watching 2,000 warships reduced to a few hundred limping vessels in under 2 hours. What happens now? Korrin asked. Do you take our worlds, our fleet, our surrender? There was a pause before the answer came. We don't want your empire, the voice said. We want the treaty you broke to mean something again, and we want you to remember exactly what it costs when it doesn't. And if we break it again, then there won't be a ceasefire next time, she said. There will only be an ending. News of the battle reached the Voss capital before Korrin's crippled fleet did. Not through official channels, through the silence of 2,000 warships that never called home. For the first time in Voss history, An invasion had been answered not with panic, not with desperate defense, but with a plan already 6 years old, waiting patiently for the moment it would be needed. Fleet Marshal Draxus Korrin returned to his homeworld aboard the wreck of his own flagship, escorted by 3 human vessels who never fired a single shot on the return journey. He was not paraded as a failure. He was not executed as an example. He was simply released alive, as a message the Voss High Command could not misunderstand. When Earth's leadership was asked what should be told to the rest of the galaxy watching the outcome unfold, the answer was short. 5 words, spoken once, remembered by every species that had ever considered testing. Along the demilitarized zone, 41 colony shields powered down to standby, quiet and patient once more. Because humanity had never needed to threaten anyone. They only needed to be ready for the day someone stopped believing they would keep their promise.